You're good.
O come, Emmanuel. That is one of the songs that we sing during this season of holidays. And it's really interesting with us having these wonderful holidays before us. The first Sunday of the month, many churches began celebrating the Advent. And the Advent is about the coming of the birth of Jesus Christ. We in Science of Mind and Metaphysics look at Advent as the coming of Christ consciousness within each of us. And as we talk about that Christ consciousness, we're talking about that light that is within us. So here we are in the second week of December, and starting on Tuesday, we began Hanukkah. And Hanukkah is the festival of dedication, commonly known as the festival of light. And in this festival of light, it's standing in remembrance of how, when the Maccabees were in their destroyed temple and they wanted to light the candelabra, they found that they did not have enough oil to have the candelabra to burn for the full 8 days that are part of the festival of dedication. They only had enough oil for 1 day. So they lit the oil. And for some reason, the oil continued to burn. It burned not only the first day, it burned the second day. They did not see any replenishment because nobody had any oil to put there. It burned the third day, the fourth, excuse me, the fourth day, the fifth day, the sixth day, and it was still burning on the seventh day. And the eighth day, the light was still there. It was still there. So of course, people marvel. How did this happen? How did this happen? So we celebrate this great miracle of the presence of light, not only of its presence, but its enduring quality, because it lasted with such a little bit of something. And then as we move on into the next week, we will be celebrating the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, right? And from there we go into Christmas, the actual birth of Christ. And from there we go on to Kwanzaa, the celebration of an African American holiday around Christmas time. And all of these are about a shifting and a changing of consciousness. And it's all about our oneness with the infinite spirit of life. What is it that we are aware of? How do we light the true light of our light in faith? How do we do this? I think through each one of these holidays, there's that commonality. It's that word called faith. And there's another commonality. It's called light. When Jesus came, Jesus said, know that you are the light. You're the light of the world. And you are a light sitting on the hill. People see your light just shining. You shine so bright. And the question becomes for each of us, how is it that we shine our light? The Christ within us, the Christ nature within us is the light that shines brightly through us. The Christ nature within us leads and guides us into truth. When we're talking about the true light, we're talking about the very nature of God that is our nature. So look at yourself. Who are you? You are a reflection of the divine. You are a reflection of the infinite spirit of light. You are the reflection, Reverend Allen, of the divine creator. And Beverly, you are a reflection of the infinite good that's in the universe. That's who we are. And I'm a reflection of whatever God says.
All those things.
All those things. And each one of us is a reflection of so much more. And why is it that each one is a reflection of so much more? Because God made us all to be individuals. So we have some likes and differences, and they're all good. Ernest Holmes said that one of the most important things that we must learn about this philosophy is that there is always good in the universe. There's infinite good everywhere, all the time. All the time. Not some of the time, all of the time. No matter what. And sometimes we look at the conditions and the circumstances in our world and we begin to wonder. We think, is there really a red pony? Is there really a good toy that I can play with? Because I'm seeing a whole lot of ugly stuff that I really don't want. And Spirit is saying there is some infinite good. So it becomes our responsibility to allow ourselves to go within and ask Spirit to show us what is the good. What is the good? And oftentimes, that good, says Reverend Michael Beckwith, turns out to be when you don't see what you have asked for, you ask Spirit, what is it that I'm supposed to learn from this? Or what is it that is for my highest good in this situation? That is Spirit bringing the light to us. When you ask the question, that's you lighting that flame, that wick, that oil, letting that light burn a little bit more within you. Thomas Troward has this great saying in his writings, my mind is a center of divine operation. My mind is a center of divine operation. That means that we can go into the resources of the Spirit to find out what the operation is to be for the thing that you happen to be involved in. So rejoice. Rejoice, because your light is here and your light is come. Let me read this from Dr. Holmes. He says that I am born of the eternal day. Child of all good, you are born of eternal day. There is no evening of the soul, for it shall live forever. It is deathless and perfect, complete and one with the everlasting. No thought of tomorrow can disturb the calm of him who knows that life is one eternal day. No fear can enter where love reigns, and reason keeps faith with hope. The thoughts of the tomorrows and yesterdays are swallowed up in the great realization of the perfect here and the complete now. And he closes this with this affirmation: I completely accept my wholeness. This is who we are. We are children of the light. How does that sit with you? We're living in, for many of us, what we consider to be some hard times, or it feels like hard times. maybe to be a little bit more descriptive, we feel like we're living in chaotic times. How about that? We're living in chaotic times where stuff is constantly moving, constantly changing, and we're not used to change happening, something happening every day that we are having to respond to, think about. We're used to living a more sedate life where, I have time to mull over this thing and think about how I really feel about it, instead of, bam, this is what happened, take it or like it, take it or leave it, take it or like it, take it or leave it, don't care if you do, don't care if you don't, we're moving on to the next thing, bam, bam, something else happens. And I was reminded by one of our colleagues that we are light bearers, Jesus said. You are the light. You are the light. You are the light. What does that mean for us here in this philosophy, working with principles? It means that we know the truth. And because we know the truth, we have a responsibility, if we choose to accept it and act on it, to be the truth. It means that we share the truth. We know how to say, and this too shall pass. This is not the truth of our life. This is not the truth of my life. This is just an incident, and it's an illusion. And it will not last, because what I'm seeing before me is just an appearance, but what I know to be the truth is that God loves every last one of us. And it's hard to accept sometimes that simple statement that God is not a respecter of persons. When you're feeling put upon, when you're feeling that no one is really supporting you. I had this amazing experience. I went over to my grandson's school, and as I was picking him up, I saw him standing there by himself, and he had this stressed look on his face. So I grabbed him and said, "What's going on? What's the matter?" And he said, "They're throwing things at me." And these kids were throwing at him. And guess what? There was a teacher standing right there. In eyesight, no further than where you are. To me, teacher right there. She didn't see it. And I said, "Who's throwing at him?" I asked the children that was there. Two little boys said, "That's not me. It's him." They pointed to the kid standing beside the teacher. Right in the teacher's eyesight. She didn't see it. So I, being a directing principal, took charge. And she got involved. And it resulted in the little boy who was actually throwing at him said, "Well, I didn't hit him," because he said that because if you hit someone, you get suspended from school. "I didn't hit him." "No, it doesn't matter that you didn't hit, you were throwing. You shouldn't have been doing that. You owe him an apology." So the young guy started crying and he apologized. But what was such a blessing to me was that my grandson's face immediately brightened, because he says, "I accept your apology." Sweet. That was so sweet. "I accept your apology." And they both extended their hands to shake hands in agreement. And I thought, now that's the light. That's the light. Because we don't have to hold a grudge or hold on to something that was bad behavior. We, knowing the truth, can turn that around. And another reason why grandmother was feeling so proud, this child has been sitting in junior church in a Science of Mind church, in junior church in a Science of Mind church, in junior church in a Science of Mind church, learning the principles and learning that there's more to life than when people are doing bad things to you, how to respond and how to respond in kind. He's learning not to hold a grudge. He's learning and demonstrated what he learned about forgiveness in the moment and to move on. And let me tell you how that forgiveness showed up. In addition to the handshake, when we left, he was skipping, he was happy, he was joyful, he was not holding. I mean, he seriously had let go of it. Now, when his father came to pick him up, my son normally says, well, how was your day? What happened today? And he proceeded to tell the story of what happened exactly as it happened. There was no coloring, there was no addition, it was just as it happened. And I thought, this is definitely him showing his light. Showing his light. Now, if a child can do that, we as light bearers, we as light beings can do the same thing. Within us, once again, is the Christ nature, that nature of God that gives us the ability to do these wonderful things. What did Paul write? I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. Sometimes when we don't have the answer to a problem and we are seeking diligently for a solution, we have to do this thing of prayer. We have to do this thing of going within and really defining what the problem or the request is. Because the scripture says, when you pray, make your request known unto God. We really have to get clear about what it is that we're talking about, what it is that we need. And when we get clear, we pray that prayer. We speak those words. Every word we speak is a word filled with power, and we let it go. Now here is where we get stuck, because we don't think God can really do the big things. And believe you me, our small stuff really is, we see it as a big thing. So what we are actually doing when we release our word into the law, we're releasing our faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of which may not be seen. But here's how faith works. You've prayed. You accepted that divine good coming forth. You've accepted it. And then we're in a place of being willing to receive it. Sometimes things have to unfold and work out before you actually receive it. Other times, the answer can come, and the answer can come quickly. Ernest Holmes has an affirmation in these meditations that he wrote, my answer comes quickly. I love putting that in my prayer when I really need something right fast, like a parking space, and I didn't do my prayer work as I was leaving home to say there's a parking space when I get there. But when I get there, I see there's no parking space. And I said, oh God, I need a parking space. Go around the block, somebody's pulling out. And I pull in. Those prayers work. Now, here's the key to this. Because we know that God always hears and answers prayer, and God demonstrated that, here's the evidence of your faith. There's your parking space. That's how faith works. Faith is attached to this spiritual power of good. That parking space is my good. Right? A parking space would be your good, or whatever it is that you want. I know this is like a physical thing, but it's more than that too. I have seen how my mother would pray because of bad behavior in the household. and it would change. And it would change. And it was amazing when us kids would hear our mother in there pray, we went quiet. We stopped fussing and fighting, and we got quiet. And sometimes we would go out of the house. But her prayer was answered because her peace and her peaceful environment was restored. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So what comes along with that, there's always an evidence. And evidence shows up. The evidence for my mother, the quietness, and the kids out of the house. The evidence is there. But it's knowing that if God answers that prayer, and that God is not a respecter of persons, not a respecter of how big or how little, we as light beings should be in the same consciousness, in the same mind that Jesus used when he recognized that there is a spiritual power in the universe that I can use, and I use it right now. That spiritual power responds to me. And the word says that the word is yea now in your mouth. We speak out the word, and it comes. So we're lighting the true light in faith. We learn to use our faith. Let's connect it back to the Maccabees. They were in this space where the temple in Jerusalem had been somewhat torn down. It wasn't all that it should be anymore because of the Maccabee revolt. There had been war. But they wanted to have their service, their time of dedication in the temple. Somebody had to be praying. I hope that all lasts. God, get me through this next moment. Now, we in the science of mind always pray for the answer to be here right now. Somebody, I believe, was holding the consciousness of there is enough oil in the lamp here right now. There is enough oil in the lamp here right now. There's enough oil in the lamp here right now. Oh, there's enough oil in the lamp here right now. And then he moved over here. There's enough oil in the lamp here right now. Right now. This is what a light bearer does. A person in the light, a person in the understanding of spirit and how spirit works through us. A person in the understanding of this power for good, how it works through us and how we can use it. God, in the very present moment, I thank you that my needs are fully met here in this very moment, right now. Right now. And the startling thing for most of us is, oh, I didn't need the mink coat right now because I'm in the house where the heater is on. But when I step outside, thank you, God, for the coat because it's cold out there and I really need that coat right now when I'm in the cold. So we change our vision, we change our view, we change the lens through which we see things. You are the light. We have a responsibility to share how others too can see that light. It's an amazing one. Here's another meditation from Holmes. It's called Fullness of Light. The light of life is full within me and around me. It shines forth into the perfect day. O light within, lighting my path to peace, I adore and love you, and I let you shine. Go forth and bless all who come to you. Light within, my light radiates to all and through all. My light has come. When you see the evidence of your faith. When you see the evidence of your prayer, you have a big smile on your face and you are radiating great joy, great happiness. People know that something good is there, something good has happened to you. We radiate it. You can't help but radiate it because there is evidence. There's evidence of it happening. It has happened. People may not know the details, but something has happened. I love it when you come into the center and something good has happened and you're bursting to share it. The energy comes before you. It goes before you, making the pathway for you to tell that, for you to share it. The light has come. So, living in the true light of faith, in faith, through faith, by faith, a recognition there is a spiritual law. Good is in the universe, and good will always be in the universe. And we're working with the law of good. And when we see that our light is come, we're unifying with that very nature of spirit, the very nature of God, as above, so below. As in God, so within me. As in the universal, so in the individual. There is no deviation from that. You are a reflection of the divine light. Know that that good is right there within you. You are the light. And the light that is being reflected in you is the light from the infinite spirit of light. There are no two ways about it. That's the truth of who we are. And we can release our faith to that. I believe, as Ernest Holmes has stated time and time again, each one of us should have a daily practice of developing our faith. Try God. Test God. Do like Dr. Joe Dispenza said. When he get up and he does his meditation to set the tone for the day and he speak his word, at the ending of his prayer or treatment, he will say, and let me know in some kind of way that I can understand that you have heard my prayer. And it happens. In some way, Spirit lets him know that the very word that Joe has spoken comes to pass. Something in that day happens. I tried it for myself, and it works. It works. You shift how you're seeing things. You shift a recognition of who you are. When you just allow yourself to be in just a physical mindset, you can miss a few things that the spiritual life has presented to you. We are so filled with gifts. We're so filled with talents. When we have these moments in our life of darkness, one of the things that we can always remember is that out of the darkness came forth the light. Out of the darkness came forth the light. Out of it. This is a time of year when a lot of people will start getting depressed and, being in a dark mood, and they don't understand why. We are connected to the earth. Now, why am I going there? We're connected to the earth because the days are getting shorter. Daylight is getting shorter, and it seems like the darkness of the night is getting longer. So we don't have as much light. Okay, go get you some vitamin D. Gonna lift yourself up. But the point is, some people are really affected by the physicality of the characteristics of the earth. They are. They are.
Everybody is, even if they don't think so.
This is true. Go over to the ocean. Go over to the ocean Go on, not the bay. Go on over to the ocean. Go over to the west side of San Francisco. Go over to the ocean and see how, if you sit there watching the waves, how you will all of a sudden find yourself in harmony with the ebb and the flow of the waves. As that goes out and it comes back in. We're part of this earth, but we're the ones with the intelligence. God has blessed us with this divine light. So let the word light not only be this light from within, let it be the intelligence that runs through you. Let us use this light, let us use this intelligence in faith to support not only ourselves, but to support ourselves during this season of light. I'm calling the entire season a season of light, whichever way you want it to be. So with this, I want to just close with one last reading, if I can find it again. And it had to do with building confidence, the confidence that we have in spirit. Well, it's eluding me right now, so I'll read this last one as the closing one. My thought is in thee, inner light. My words are from thee, inner wisdom. My understanding is of thee, inner God. I cannot be hid from thee. My inspiration and my light, my thought is in thee. Within each one of us is the inner light. And our inner being, our inner woman, our inner man is this inner light directly from spirit. A reflection of the divine within the divine here. So with that, let's just go within.